We saw Turbo Depths earlier here. David Long defeating Death and Taxes. Playing that long game against it that you oftentimes see Lands play, where he just slowly overpowered the interactive parts out of the deck.
Yeah, found a way to beat the things that beat his combo.
He's going to have to do the opposite this time. He will have to slow down Jim for enough turns. Jim on a 6-card hand, but he is on the play.
My experience playing against Black-Red Reanimator was that if they weren't doing something on turn 1, certainly if they mulliganed, they generally weren't doing much to follow it up.
Yeah, a lot of their top plays here are on turn 1. Now, they can have a turn 1 play at the end step, which is what Jim has. It's an Entomb. And he'll put Griselbrand into the graveyard.
And the deck is set up to re-combo after you get Griselbrand out. It's full up on 4 Lotus Petals and 4 Dark Rituals. So you usually try to add something with the Griselbrand as well. Frequently a Chancellor of the Annex to tax your opponent's spells.
A lot of ways for Jim to bring this Griselbrand out of the graveyard. He's got Exhume, Reanimate, and Animate Dead. 11 cards that can do the trick. And there's one of them. It's going to be Exhume. Very hard for David to win from this board. We see Griselbrand hits on turn 2. Jim's going to draw 7. And this is the harder part from a side like Turbo Depths. You're playing light interaction, and you're a little slow as a combo deck. The light. So then when you look at this, the question would be is, does David's light interaction interact in the correct way for the matchup?
Yeah, and David does play, I think, 8 or so discard effects. He didn't have any of that on turn 1, and it's just a matchup where he needs to have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he has 8 discard spells, 3 Pithing Needles, and 1 Sorceress Spyglass for his interactive cards. So there are ways this can hit, but the window is really small.
Jim goes for an unmask here, pitching a second Griselbrand, and you saw David, I think, thinking about conceding in response.
Yeah, doesn't want, his list is not, maybe it has some hidden elements. We do see it was lands 2 and 3, Lotus Petal, Vampire Hexmage, Sorceress Spyglass, Elvish Spirit Guide, and Living Wish. So interestingly, David had the option to turn 1 Spirit Guide out Spyglass and try to just name Griselbrand. It's a really bold play to make. Especially when you hadn't even seen the Entomb.
Right, there's enough spots where it's just not a game-winning play.
I guess, also, I don't know how much David Long works with the Gurus. I think the question for me would be, before he sat down, did he know what Jim was playing?
Also, he has Spirit Guide, Lotus Petal, and then Living Wish plus Hexmage.
So he could make the turn 2 Marit Lage.
So he would have access to 4 mana with land drops, with a land drop there. He killed another Spirit Guide or a Lotus Petal he could, because he has to use the land drop for the Dark Depths. But if he had like a discard spell off the top, he'd be able to cast it and then combo from there.
Jim takes the Living Wish with Unmask. There's not too much he has to watch out for here. He'll draw 7 more.
Yeah, David Long's not playing a deck that wins with chip shots. Certainly not going to be lightning bolted from here.
Now, if David does manage to make the 20-20, Jim doesn't have a huge number of ways to get around it.
Yeah, I'd be looking at Tidespout Tyrant or chump blocking with Chancellor of the Annex and Griselbrand.
I guess Tidespout Tyrant's a pretty good answer, though.
Yes.
Draws 7 more, finds another Unmask. That feels pretty free. 3 Lotus Petals. Thoughtseize, Reanimates. Yeah, he can just tear David's hand to shreds. He'll use Lotus Petal to cast Faithless Looting. Draws Dark Ritual, another Unmask. Discards 2 lands. Be interested to see how he plays this. He could try to get a Tidespout Tyrant into play. He can also just unmask Thoughtseize, which that's all of David's non-land cards.
Yeah, he wants to go through a lot of cards in hand as well, just because he has to discard so many cards to the end step.
Sure. Here's an Unmask, getting rid of another Griselbrand. He'll take the Hexmage. Spyglass, Spirit Guide, still in hand for David. Jim will drop some of the petals into play. Looks like he's okay with David keeping that Spyglass.
Yeah, Spyglass, not a big deal. Griselbrand's already drawn plenty of cards. Doesn't stop it from attacking for 7.
Yeah, and Jim will discard to hand size, pitching 2 more lands. We're back to David. Just mana and a Sorcerous Spyglass for David Long. And he will draw. He draws, I believe, Thespian Stage.
And with the Living Wish he previously had exiled, he'll still be looking for a Dark Depths from here.
Makes Lotus Petal. Looks like we'll see a Spyglass. It's likely going to name Griselbrand. He gets to look at Jim's hand. Collective Brutality, Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Reanimate, Unmask, and a land. A heavy amount of discard. Very heavy amount of discard. A bit of mana. A Reanimate, which after a Griselbrand hit should be online.
Still needs to find something to reanimate.
Yeah. He has 1 Faithless Looting in his graveyard. Otherwise, he's just playing with the draw step. As Sorcerous Spyglass is going to name Griselbrand, so Jim can't draw 7 again. Draw from Jim. Looks like he finds another Dark Ritual. Now with 2 Dark Rituals, or actually make that an Entomb. That's much better.
Yes.
I'm going to say, one of the neat parts about this deck, now you were telling me before the round, is that with multiple Dark Rituals and Petals, sometimes they can actually just cast the monsters.
Yes. Certainly approaching that threshold. You know what happens when a Griselbrand attacks? A player gains 6 or more life in a game. So I'm going to check that box.
Wait, it wasn't even in a turn, it was just in a game? So like 3 Death Ray activations would do it?
Yeah, well, it also happened
That's
in a turn. So, you know, forget about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Your theoretical griping does not amuse me.
I mean, yeah, that's cool.
Entomb for Jim Davis.
You know, I have a score that says turn 1 Griselbrand. He made 1 turn 2, but you know, that's just not good enough. But Death Ray tapping 3 times, sign me up for that.
And there is Tidespout Tyrant. Expect to see Jim bring that back and start bouncing all the permanents that Long controls.
That sounds nice.
An oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, there aren't too many creatures from that long ago that still see play. I like that he's one of them. The Tidespout Tyrant.
Yeah, Griselbrand pushed a lot of the stuff he used to play out. You don't see Blazing Archon anymore. I think you used to see like Angel of Despair.
Remember when Oath of Druids, they're like used to find Razia, Boros Archangel, as one of their best cards. It's one of the best things you could oath into.
It used to find Morphling.
It was your 2 threats were Akroma and Razia, and those are the best creatures you could find.
And you see Jim cast spells, controls Tyrant, and Long picks him up.
I have to think, how far down the list are those 2 creatures now?
Razia? Razia's not on the list.
No, it's on there.
You
but
have to control F to find it.
Right. It's like number of creatures better than Razia is probably, it's at least 20 now.
That's got to be.
So Jim going to take the first game. We're going to look at the sideboards first here for David Long. He's going to need cards that can fit in, you know, the turn 1 and 2 window. Looking at this, he's got 3 Abrupt Decays, 2 Surgical Extractions, an Urborg, a 3rd Sylvan Safekeeper, a Fairy Macabre, a Reclamation Sage, a Pithing Needle, that Steely Resolve that we saw just do so much work last match. Thespian Stage, Dark Depths, Dryad Arbor, and Karakas. There actually are a lot of cards he can use here.
Yep, so mostly looking at this graveyard, you have the 2 Surgical Extractions, and you have that Fairy Macabre.
Great.
And worth noting, he has Bajuka Bog in his main deck, which he can crop rotation for. So that does play a lot here.
Yeah, and you expect to see the Karakas. So with that, I assume you still want the Karakas to come in as well.
Yep.
Do you want Pithing Needle? It stops Griselbrand.
It doesn't stop it from attacking you to death, so I would not.
All right, on Jim's side, he's got 4 copies of Show and Tell. That's a pretty standard one for the any of these Reanimator decks to have. He's got 3 Stronghold Gambit, 2 Massacre, 2 Pithing Needle, a snow-covered island. That would be for the show and tell. The third collective brutality, and then can switch up his threats into Grave Titan and Elesh Norn.
So the needles you can make an argument for in a matchup like this. You can shut off either side of the way that the Depths stage, Dark Depths combo that kind of goes off. You can't hit both without drawing both needles, so it's a little bit mopey, but it's pretty good. The shows and tells in the Stronghold Gambit will usually be good. It'd be a little awkward if you cast Gambit and Long just shows you a Vampire Hexmage, though.
Yeah, so Gambit is this show and tell. Both players reveal a creature card in their hand. The player who reveals the smaller converted mana cost creature gets to put it into play.
Yep.
So it ideally be for decks that just don't play creatures. Which
exactly.
David has 4. He has Spirit Guides.
Yeah, Spirit Guides.
That really messes with it.
A lot can go wrong.
Yeah.
But show and tell is fine here.
So for Jim Davis, the captain of the Metagame Gurus, second place right here in season number 2. 13 Open top 8s along with 2 wins. We saw him top 8 Modern Open earlier this month in Dallas. Was playing 2 weeks ago, had a win and in for another Modern top 8. Now going for this in Legacy. He was our Players Champion not all that long ago as well here.
Full-time Magic player. Actually just closed on a house recently.
Congratulations. From the New York area, making its way to our Legacy Open this weekend. Jim's been showing a lot of really diversity in decks this year. I know he was a lot of a control mage when he first started on the tour. We've seen him go toward big mana threats a lot, playing Tron in Modern. Actually, when the year he was Players Championship, had a ramp strategy that took him through the elimination rounds in Standard as well. Now you're seeing Black-Red Reanimator in Legacy.
Yep, not afraid to try new decks.
He'll be on the draw for game number 2. So this month at Star City Games, we debuted our newest member of the Creature Collection. That was the Vampire Night Fox. You can still get that one at game nights just while we are still in October, but next month we'll be switching. Though the Night Fox might be leaving game night, you can still get it on playmats, sleeves, and in our player bundles over at the Star City Games store. It's starcitygames.com/creature collection. You can find this one and other members of our Creature Collection.
I miss when Vampire Nighthawk was a constructed playable Magic card.
I registered it in Extended.
I won a PTQ with it Extended.
Yeah. It's strange because creatures in constructed Magic have just, man, they're a lot better than they used to be.
3 mana for 2 power doesn't generally play anymore.
Yeah.
I suppose Gifted Aetherborn is a fine card in its own right.
Mulligans from both players here. Yeah, I mean, you look at Vampire Nighthawk and how it matches up with other 3-drops. It's a bit on the small side. You see cards like Bramaz, they don't see too much play.
No.
That card's
hits a bit harder.
It hits harder. For David Long, we say him every time we have our Legacy tournaments here on the tour. From the DC area, he's got 7 open top 8, still looking for that first win. A doctorate in chemistry. He's an avid Ultimate Frisbee player and enjoys college football. Most of the times we see him playing lands. Slight deviation here. Still winning with the land combo, but just doing it in a different way.
Good amount of overlap, similar deck. He believes that this one is much better positioned currently. He was concerned about the number of surgical extractions that a lot of the blue decks are packing these days, and so he's just going for a more on-the-table combo.
We really saw that in the Jody Keith match against John Rossum, where between Deathrite and Surgical, there was a lot of interaction that Rossum had. And David going to go to 5. We'll see whether Jim joins him. Both of these decks are non-brainstorm decks, so they rely a lot on their openers to have the right mix. Jim will join him.
Not a ton of redraw potential in these decks. reasonable amount of card selection for Turbo Depths. You have your Living Wishes, your crop rotations, so you have a lot of copies of your cards that matter in that way. For the Black Red Reanimator deck, Jim is largely drawing to Faithless Looting as redraws.
Yeah, and that's about it. The way he gets around that is just by being so redundant. You know, 11 reanimate spells, 10 ways to put a creature in the graveyard, 10 creatures. Yeah, he needs all 3 pieces. He just plays a lot of each piece.
Right.
And tops it off with 8 discard spells. 5 cards apiece here.
Also some Collective Brutality, kind of a discard spell. I think the big prize on it is that you can always discard your own card, and also it kills Deathrite Shaman.
I don't know that Jim has any lands in this 5-card hand he's considering.
Doesn't make it unkeepable. Does make it dicey.
We're playing Legacy. It could certainly be keepable. David scrying to the top, Jim to the bottom. 5 cards apiece. Game 2 is underway. And David will start with a Duress. We'll see Jim's holding. Yeah, there's no lands there. We see Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Exhume, Show and Tell, Faithless Looting.
So it's all spells, which I guess makes it a little bit harder to Duress.
Ooh. This hand needs a lot of work to be keepable, to make from where it is right now. I guess he could, if he just drew the red source or Faithless Looting, this hand could still go really fast.
Yeah, I'm most threatened by the Faithless Looting in this hand.
If he draws bad lands or a way to fetch it up, he could still make a monster on turn 2.
Right.
Discards it off looting, turn 2, Dark Ritual, Exhume. Or just draw land, Exhume.
In general, against Reanimator decks, you do go for the Enabler rather than the Reanimation spell. When you're playing a blue deck, you counter the discard spell, you counter the Entomb instead of fighting over the Reanimation spell, because then you have to jump through both hurdles if you actually want to go off.
Now David is going to go a very different route. He's going to take Thoughtseize, which suggests he's got something very good worth keeping.
He might have a fragile, very fast hand here.
Yeah. Now can Jim draw the mana for the Faithless Looting? No, not this turn. He's not going to get too many turns on it. Both these decks look to close quickly. If David took the Thoughtseize, I'm pretty concerned on Jim's side.
Yes. Jim, I believe, picked up Entomb, so he's a black mana source off of Dark Ritual, Entomb, Exhume.
That all goes in one.
Yep. Any Lotus Petal, any black producing land.
It's going to be Living Wish from David. And I think that was the concern. David's hand, I think, is Pithing Needle, land, Living Wish. He just didn't want to leave Jim that Thoughtseize.
And he's wishing for Fairy Macabre here.
Okay. We'll reanimate from Jim. Macabre not going to be necessary just yet. Pretty controlling start here from David. So now he's got control, so how is he going to win? The next question, he plays Lotus Petal, Pithing Needle. Could name a fetch land. There we go. And he did. Bloodstained Mire was the name, not Griselbrand. He's hoping to just keep Jim off all mana.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it.
I prefer this to naming Griselbrand by a lot.
Yeah. The 7, you're not sure you'd beat the lifelinker anyway.
Yep.
David Long continues to develop mana here. Jim has not gotten into the game yet off his mulligan, but David hasn't closed just yet. Finds a basic forest. I don't think we're going to see Fairy Macabre beatdowns. Do you? We're going to see Elvish, the other kind. We're going to see Elvish Spirit Guide beatdowns.
Yeah, this one pitches for a less significant effect.
So Jim's gotten up to the point where he can discard to hand size, which could have been good. The unfortunate thing, he just hasn't drawn a card to reanimate yet.
Right. And his hand's kind of redundant, and most of the stuff's just kind of bad on its own.
He'll get rid of the reanimate. He's going to take some hits off the Spirit Guide that could cost him. He'll go to 18 on the hit. And Thespian Stage for David. He's not willing to play the Macabre that he tutored for.
No. He did not find that to attack for 2 with it. Ooh, and Jim draws Polluted Delta, not Bloodstainmire.
This is still a game. David's hand was a mulligan to 5 as well. It did not cooperate too strongly here.
And Jim knows about that Fairy Macabre, so he's going to respect that.
Yeah. He's going to go for Badlands.
Strong argument for just casting Faithless Looting and trying to find more stuff to navigate through this.
Yeah, I like that. It does mean that he's still a land off that Show and Tell. But he doesn't really have the creature anyway, so he's got to cast Faithless Looting, and that's what he'll do. Finds Lotus Petal Unmask.
Unmask is nice, and actually Lotus Petal lets him cast Dark Ritual for Inhume Exhume this turn.
So he can, okay, so he can do, oh wait, he's going to discard the Unmask.
Huh. Yeah, I think if he discards Needle Show and Tell, he can go for Reanimation Spell this turn.
Yeah, he can Petal, Ritual, Entomb, Exhume, Unmask. Yeah, I agree.
It's possible that he doesn't have Entomb. I thought he did. No, I think that's the last card in his hand.
He'll say go. Thespian Stage copied Bayou. On end step there for David. He'll continue the hit for 2. Go back to Jim. Dark Ritual to draw. Plenty of mana now.
Suppose you can just Needle the Macabre this turn.
Sure. Yeah, you can still, it is, even when cast out of hand, it is an activated ability, so that does work.
Yeah.
You might be asking a judge that question.
Right. Still not sure why you would give up on going off last turn. I think Jim must have just missed it.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the game's shipping out, that may only cost him 2 life points.
Right.
I mean, David's clock's not doing too much here. We're going to see a crop rotation from David.
But he's just going to make a 20/20 in response to the Needle. That's bad news for Jim.
That's real bad news for Jim, right? With Needle on the stack, make Marit Lage. And Jim will concede to that one. We're going to a 3rd game.
It must have been a mana or a spell shy of being able to like Dark Ritual with the mana up to cast a spell after getting Tidespout Tyrant. That would be his out to a 20/20.
Yeah. So wait, if he lets the 20/20 get made, well, you mean like right on that last turn? He can't start because this is all on his turn. So David just untaps and hits him.
This is all on Jim's turn, so he names Macabre. He could make Tidespout Tyrant. Can he cast another spell is the question, because he has Lotus Petal.
Okay, so he has a Lotus Petal to start it?
Yeah. I think the choking point must have been a follow-up spell after you make the Tyrant.
Yeah, so there's this weird thing where he can Ritual into Entomb Exhume, but then he's out of mana. Or he can double Ritual and have mana left over, but then he doesn't have anything left to cast with it.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a 3rd game. We did see Show and Tells come in out of Jim's deck there. Nothing else coming in out of the side. We saw some Pithing Needles out of the sideboard.
Yep. And now he knows about Fairy Macabre, so he can more proactively name that with the Needle. It is a little bit awkward trying to Needle the Turbo Depths deck off of Marit Lage combo, because they can either get there with the Hex Mage or with Thespian Stage. Frequently they'll telegraph with Living Wish, but sometimes just kind of guessing in the dark.
He's other on David's side, leaving the Marit Fairy Macabre in the sideboard so that he can Living Wish for it.
Discard spells help inform what to name on the needle, though you never really know what's on top of the deck.
Yeah, I liked the aggressive play last game of David to attempt that mana denial when he named Bloodstained Mire. He was very close to it working too. Jim drawing a fetch and I'm just drawing the other one. Going to a third one with Jim back on the play. Now there's the chance with Jim on the play that we see a turn 1 or 2 Griselbrand. The deck's certainly capable of it. It does take cards like Fairy Macabre off Living Wish off the table, or interactions like that, or to force David to Petal or Spirit Guide into that kind of play.
Right.
Going to be on the play for the third game. Now, we got our first glimpse just a couple rounds ago of the newest pre-release playmat. This is the Rivals of Ixalan playmat, going to be given away January 13th and 14th at participating stores around the country.
Yep. See, love this art. We've been talking about it this weekend. Dogs versus cat, and a little mouse showing up to race as well.
Yeah, this will be in Rivals of Ixalan, and right now you can sign up. You can ask your local game store to sign up. We still have sign-ups for a couple of weeks here, so if you're interested in getting this one at your store, talk to your store owner, and they can go ahead and get registered for this at starcitygames.com/pre-release.
I'm excited to see how they flesh out the block in Ixalan. We're going to see more of the same creature types. Maybe finally make pirates viable in Legacy.
Yeah, we have Pirate Stompy, who was the talk of the town on the on Ixalan release weekend.
The internet is a fascinating and horrible place.
Collins Mullen, I believe, with Kite Sail Freebooter this weekend in Legacy. That's a pirate.
He's playing it because it's a human, but it is a pirate. That card is impressive, though.
Yeah, I am a fan of that one. We saw it as a 4 of and is winning deck list in Modern.
Combos it with Meddling Mage.
That's nice. Don't know about many other pirates seeing a ton of play in Legacy.
No.
I got this square on my card. Someone's going to resolve a pirate spell.
Little Rishadan Cut Purse.
Rishadan Port is a land-pirate, and I think you have to cast it when you play it.
I can confirm that all of that is false.
Jim going to unmask turn 1 on David's 6-card hand. He sees Thoughtseize, Inquisition of Kozilek, and 3 lands.
Not a very unmaskable hand.
Yeah, I don't like throwing a discard and unmask at this hand. That sounds like a win for David.
Yeah. Yeah, Thoughtseize, Inquisition, they're not cards that you regularly force of will. They're fine to hit with your own duress, but much worse when you unmask them.
So Jim will take the Inquisition of Kozilek. And it turns out none of this matters because Jim has turn 1 Entomb Exhume.
Okay.
That's going to be, I'll turn 1 unmask you, Entomb Exhume, Entomb Reanimate, go, draw 7. Turn 1, come on, make the Griselbrand. If you make something else on turn 1, Jim, thank you, boom, on the board, checking off the square. I was worried he was going to get like Tidespout Tyrant.
Yeah, it looked like he brought in Grave Titan too.
Sure. I could see that being better than a Chancellor of the Annex.
Sure, yeah, we haven't seen him reveal a Chancellor.
Or certainly better than an Iona. Against...
Yeah, this isn't really an Iona matchup.
all of it kind of, I mean, Griselbrand's still just the one he's going to go to here, and that is going to be the play. Drawing 7.
You can't name lands with Iona, which is...
Yeah, I name colorless, and that counts your lands now. That would be nice.
Stopping your opponent from making lands for the rest of the game? Yeah, that might be okay. That's a good turn 1 play. You probably wouldn't even name...
You'd get it in most matchups.
Other colors in any other matchup. Not on the turn 1. There's some Chancellors in the hand.
Here we go. He'll discard a Chancellor the Annex to hand size and says go. So now David gets a turn. He's got some Thought Seizes and some lands. Might Thought Seize Jim.
Yeah, he's not doing anything else.
Yeah. See,
get it while it's good. Get it slightly after it would have been good.
Yeah. He'll do that. Thought Bars, once Jim makes a Tidespout Tyrant to go with this Griselbrand, even drawing into the combo won't be an out for David. Thoughts he sees 2 Entombs, a Chancellor, a Faithless Looting, and an Exhume.
I guess you take Exhume.
Yeah. Yep. If Jim exhumes that Chancellor, then your chances of winning are an even stronger 0, so you should take the Exhume. There you go from there. He passes the turn. Jim looking to close this one out.
And Jim picks up Tidespout Tyrant. Suppose he won't be able to entomb into that, but he still has Faithless Looting, so he can set up that way.
Griselbrand will hit David down to 10, Jim up to 12.
Could also just cast Exhume here. That would be pretty good. Threatens lethal next turn as well.
He'll draw 7, go down to 5.
Can't fault anybody for drawing 7, though.
I like that. If there's 7 life, you probably should just be drawing more cards. Yeah, Exhuming Chancellor feels real safe here. If he has one, he does.
Yep.
Got lethal in 1 turn. Your opponent's spells are going to get countered.
He's got to make sure not to target it with that Reanimate, then he'll be smooth sailing.
Faithless Looting. Going to discard another Chancellor and a Tidespout Tyrant.
Yeah, they don't do anything in the hand.
Dark Ritual.
With Ritual and Petal, you can actually exhume the Tyrant and then bounce the Bayou, and then there's just really no threat of anything bad happening.
He can just do everything. I like that a lot. Here's Dark Ritual, makes 3 black mana, spends 2 of it on Exhume. He'll Exhume Tidespout Tyrant. Yeah, David will extend the hand. That's enough of that.
Yep.
And 2-1, the match is going to go to Jim Davis. Black Red Reanimator, he improves to 4-0.
And